always going to talk about Beetlejuice and Beetle guys and all these different things.
Beetlejuice! You're right.
The Orion Cluster and other places, they will always refer back to something that everybody knows.
I honestly didn't hear anything after "we're all gonna die."
But here's a fact that a lot of airline pilots, a lot of people at specific times of the day,
I just want to tell you both good luck. We're all counting on you.
Have already seen something very significant in the heavens, and it's persistent. It's getting it's getting more defined. It will become so defined that they can't hide it. It's not going to be hidden. They would have to obscure the entire heavens. And so, whether people accept that or not, this world is changing.
Uneventful.
Admiral?
It's the way you describe the survey of Nibiru in your captain's log.
Yes, sir. I didn't want to waste your time.
According to Michael from the Council of Time, the new recent reports of a large object now being seen coming from the southern hemisphere are direct proof that Nibiru is now making its presence known.
Man has no control over that. Nobody has control over that. It's going to do what it wants to do, but they are, you have people with lots of assets in the southern hemisphere of the world watching. They're watching. They have dedicated billions of dollars per year to watching certain things in the sky. Why would the Vatican have a telescope in the first place if that type of telescope that can see in most, if not all, spectrums? Why would they have that? But educational wise, they only disclose maybe 5% of what they find and verify.
NASA's James Webb Space Telescope made another out-of-this-world discovery. Take a look at this, a giant red planet outside of our solar system. It has 2 suns and is located just 40 light years away from Earth. This illustration shows the swirling red clouds made up of a sand-like material.
Telescopes are extremely advanced these days. I mean, extremely advanced. For example, they can assemble a picture of an object by gas displacement from a very, from a far distance. Some of that technology is in the James Webb Telescope, how it assembles pictures by artificial intelligence. Lots of electronics and optics and things of that nature. So it can essentially analyze what is sitting in the heavens, right? And then make a 3-dimensional map of that, and then they will recollate all that data to come up with an image, a pretty accurate image. Temperatures of things that are way out there that nobody can see. Not even, in fact, they can see things infrared can't pick up. You can't see it ultraviolet. So they have to assemble it a different way. CERN uses some of the imagery and things from that because it can see dark matter. So yeah, they have telescopes and technology like that, but they don't give public access to those things. So you have to ask yourself, why would they spend billions of dollars per year with the upkeep and further advancements of this technology just to watch, just to see what's going on in the heavens? No, believe me, it's a critical mission. They're tied in with all defense ministries in foreign countries and the DOD and Pentagon here. So they're very intricate in what's happening in space. And the Vatican is heading this out because they are appointed a part of that spiritual guidance that, they're spearheading the spiritual guidance other countries take for this. So to them, it's quite serious. They're on a timetable, a big timetable. And if anybody doubts that timetable, watch how many things alter. This year they made declarations like the Ukraine would join NATO, right? Different things that they would do. They scrapped everything. Watch how everything alters itself in politics. Just watch. It's not going to make sense why they would scrap so many things and go a different direction, because they're on a very compressed timeline. and they know it. And people are starting to see things. That whoever took that in Africa, they're not the only people at certain times of the day throughout the perimeter of the globe, or the southern hemisphere. People have been taking pictures of a very, pretty defined object. So we're dealing with more than one, because every system has, just like our solar system, we have planets that are near the sun, planets that are distant from the sun. Well, this other system is no different. In a binary system, which is what most systems are in the universe, then we're going to encounter not only the indicator, which would be that red star, but everybody is going to get a chance to see some of the more dynamic objects hovering around the sun on the backside. And like I said, man has no control over this. We have to kind of dodge it, but everybody's going to be able to see these things. But when it happens, believe it or not, if everybody were to see a second moon, right? Give it a month, and nobody would be concerned about it. They would normalize it. They're experts at normalizing everything. Like that earthquake in Turkey. Nobody remembers that, right? All these things that have happened that are major, people normalize it. California, right? They have, of course, they're investigating to see what the cause is. There's already been talk that it's that ground disruption is 1,500 miles going south. That's a pretty big disruption just to be localized. But they're going to normalize it, which throws people off. So yes, they're going to have their little defense stories, like Beetlejuice and Beetle guys and constellations. And there's a new constellation everybody's about to see, and when that happens, they'll normalize that. Experts will pop up and say we're supposed to see that, this, that, and the other.
Hi, I'm Jim Green, Director of Planetary Science at NASA. NASA works with the international science community to explore our solar system and beyond. It's all about starting the process that could lead to an exciting result. It is not, however, the detection of a new planet. It's too early to say with certainty that there's a so-called Planet X out there. What we're really seeing is an early prediction based on modeling from limited observations.
People have to really pay attention these days.
No way. That's great.
We landed on the moon!
The land is changing rapidly everywhere. It's everywhere. So any fault lines that we know about, we should expect those to have some activity. Plus, fault lines that are brand new, that hardly anybody ever detected, but they are, they're being mapped out now. One of the biggest indicators for any inbound object, and of course nobody has control, this thing could appear at any given moment. If that guy saw something that was not one of those known stars, and he likely saw it. And sad to say, once you see it, it's too late. It's too late because the forces have already taken effect. Once you see that thing, the forces, the Earth changes historically. The Earth was altering, and then they saw it, right? And then it got really bad, really fast. So the changes are exponential. If it's too late. There's no timetable, because that thing is traveling very fast, which means it's gonna it speeds up as it comes closer and closer to us, right? So that throws any calculated expectation date. It throws it out. You can have a season, something like that. But as far as being precise, no, because there's no way to really track the absolute speed of this thing. But we'll start to exchange chemicals with the sun. It will have its most direct interaction with the sun. I personally believe that's when our skies are going to be red, not only by reason of thick smoke, because it's going to start setting volcanoes off everywhere. That small subtle change will shift the land masses. And when that happens, we have magma underneath these land masses. That magma is going to find a way out. It's under high pressure. It's looking for a way out. So we should see multiple eruptions, but sustained eruptions, not necessarily, big devastating eruptions, but think about 300 more volcanoes going off and they don't stop, something like that. We'll start seeing things like that. Then, of course, the earthquakes will come intermittently with that, and they will be powerful, not small. But that's only the beginning, because then we'll have, those pressure differences. For example, if the pressure changes, like some of these high and low pressure systems, if the pressure of these storms continues to build, then it's a known fact that within a very short time, we could see the oceans boil. See, the temperature could be, for example, if the ambient temperature is 97 degrees, the oceans can actually boil with a small temperature change, right? They can actually boil. It's kind of like going from the coastline of Carolina to Denver, Colorado. You're going to have a different boiling point based on altitude because of pressure. Well, the same thing with the pressure of the atmosphere. If it changes, your boiling point changes also. So that's a boiling off of the oceans. That means no water for anybody. Things like that will begin to happen. Let me give a scenario. If what was seen in South Africa is in fact part of the twin system, we're going to see an escalation in heat, period, underneath the Earth and above the Earth and in the Earth. Then we're going to see a problem in the northern hemisphere with water, ice melts, things of that nature. If that is a fact, if that is really a fact, they're going to have to cover up quite a few things like strange particles coming in or drifting into the solar system. We're going to have some sort of space dust issue here. That will begin to build, and it won't be Sahara dust. This will cause a sickness because it's a known fact that viruses often come in with dust in the solar system. Now, not galactic cosmic rays and large, heavy particles, but things that are being carried all over the solar system and indeed the universe. Also expect more land shifts or crustal displacement. And the reason why is because you're dealing with tidal forces. When another object comes in proximity to us, the sun is going to be the first thing that starts cutting up. It's going to be the first indicator something is wrong. When it has persistent activity that it's not supposed to have, right? Which means it's outside of its normal cycles, like it is right now. Then we have a problem. When it's active, possibly on one side, the sun still, is rotating and all that. But when it's active on one specific side, that's by way of influence only. It's not some natural process when it only does something on one side. So watch for that. We're going to see those increases. That'll be verification that we're in trouble. And then next, Earth is going to have these, dynamic changes in, for example, gravity, how electricity works. We're going to have interruptions in electricity. That's one of the biggest warnings right now that people are afraid of. Not the public, but the other guys for themselves. They're terrified because they're trying to mitigate the total loss of electricity. So things are starting to change. Subtle at first, but they'll continue, which means a lot of amateur astronomers are going to start picking subtleties up. But when that happens, you better believe they're going to put something will happen to the internet because they don't want people to communicate such things just yet, right? Will interrupt everything they're trying to do. But people are going to see it with their own eyes, and when they do, I hope they don't fall apart because it's not something fake.
This has been The Confidential Report. For even more stories like this one, make sure to subscribe to our channel today. And please show your support by clicking the like button on this video. For even more stories and news you deserve to know the truth about, follow us on Facebook and Twitter. Thank you for watching The Confidential Report.